ready to go. Original spotlight, YouTube, recording, yoga. All right, guys, can you hear me well enough over the music, I hope? Do, 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 do. And we will take today, as I said earlier, we're going to use a pinky ball today, but not everybody has a pinky ball. So we're going to do some self-love and massage because it's our last day of the summer. So if you have a big or little tennis ball, this one is for dogs, but I like it. I also have this 4-inch pinky ball. They're just made out of rubber. That's great. Anything will work. Some alternate ideas are an apple, a rubber band around a kitchen towel, or even like a potato. All of those things would work. All right, so we'll use those towards the end of the class, but we're going to start with a little bit of movement first. Talking a little bit about bringing ourselves into balance. So starting in your easy pose. Again, the reason why we start here with our practice and our breath in a similar way every time is because of the power of ritual. So letting your eyes close and breathing in through the nose, up through your skull, down into your belly, letting your ribs and belly expand with that breath, and then softly pushing the air out, back up through the throat and out through the mouth. Bringing your mind and your body into harmony here is a ritual of concentration that allows us to slow the heartbeat, to shift away from outside worries, and instead to focus on nurturing ourselves, knowing that for this brief amount of time that our practice takes, our investment in our own self-well-being will help us to be kinder to others, help us to be more aware and able to witness the world around ourselves with compassion. But we have to build that foundation of compassion in ourselves in order to have it for others. Nurturing the wellspring. We're going to inhale like you're drawing up water from the center of the earth. And we're going to exhale and push out the sky, push out the space, push out the worries. Inhale, draw up from the earth. Let your back curl this time. Take that time. Exhale, push out the worries, push out the sky, push out the clutter. And soft gathering up. Let your eyes open. And exhale, letting the sun fall forward. Nice and easy. Couple breaths here. Taking a little inventory of how you're feeling without judgment. Yeah, if you notice that you're sore, notice how you talk about that soreness in your body. Are you saying, oh, ow, I'm so loud? Or can you just say like, there's soreness here. This part of my body might need a little gentleness. Let's take a breath in. And shift over your right thigh. Really dropping the left hip down. Notice how it feels here. Big deep breath. Letting go of worry. Sipping up the wellspring of the earth. Slide around to the other side. Keeping that right hip anchored down so it's growing roots down into the earth on the right side, even as you really stretch away to the left. And come back, center. Inhale, staying low, drinking up from the wellspring of the earth. We're going to exhale as we rise, arms forward. Go ahead and switch your feet right away. Big breath in. Go over to the right and up and over to the left. So we're trying to do side bends here, straight to the side, shoulders dropped back. Go ahead and take your hands today and wrap them around your rib cage. See if you can grab the opposite shoulder blades. Yeah. Grabbing your shoulder blades. And we're going to just curve the back and then arch the tailbone back and reach your rib cage forward. Come back on top of yourself and curve. Tuck your buns underneath. Rock back. Up. And a little arch and shift. So I'm pulling my shoulders forward towards my knees. Just feeling that range of motion. Like, what does it feel like? It feels like I'm falling backwards if my ribs are behind my butt. There's that place where I'm right over my sits bones. It feels like a balance. I pull my ribs forward. And my body wants to fall forward. How about a big circle? Like a big circle with the rib cage. How about we find our breath again? And reverse that circle. Really moving that rib cage out and around. Good. Release those arms. Walk them behind yourself. Ooh. Pointer fingers forward. And let those elbows bend. And then we're going to lift our chest back up, stretching the shoulders softly. So I'm thinking about reaching my heart up and sort of panning it along the ceiling in that direction. Then I feel my front deltoids and my front pectoral muscles here sore today, probably because of those supported handstands we did yesterday. Lift your heart. Let your shoulders come up and support your neck. And find your breath. Big, huge breath. And go ahead and roll down again and rise up. Interlacing your fingers, we're going to press forward and open up the back, tipping side to side. So tipping to your left and center and right. And center. Left. Good. Rolling up. We're going to bring our knees together. We're going to give them a hug for a moment. And let those legs slide out for what is probably going to be a very shallow forward fold, right? Because your bodies aren't warm just yet, but we're just checking in like, oh, okay, this is where I feel the tightness begin today. Let's walk our forward fold and get back in touch with our breath. Perhaps placing your hands on the earth. And imagine that you can just inhale up from the earth that oxygen that the plants have made and stored in their roots. Exhaling down, releasing like falling photons of sun. We're going to rise up, drawing your feet in. We're going to swoop those elbows back. I'm keeping them close, feet close. I'm going to gently press up. It's probably quite tight here, so I'm not expecting to go all the way, but I'm going to move through this flow with compassion. So I'm not going to judge that it's smaller than normal because we're cold still. I'm going to exhale down, drink up the earth, feel the ground. Exhale a little softer. Inhale deeper into your stretch. Feel the earth under your palms and your heels. Exhale, roll your body up. Elbows back. Feet halfway in. And again, push the earth to your tabletop. Really squeeze your glutes and try and get your hips high. Can you stretch your skull back so that it's radiating away from your knees? Exhaling down. Inhale up like a rising wave and exhale. Let that soft water come down and breathe. Inhaling up. This time we're going to roll all the way down to the earth. And I invite you to place your hands on the mat today and close your eyes. And before we get around, feel the contact of the earth underneath yourself. Just close your eyes and notice how the ground touches your heels and your calves and maybe the back of your thighs, your hips and your rib cage. Feel the earth underneath your hands, your forearms, your elbows, your shoulders and ribs, those shoulder blades, the back of your head. And then notice if you press your arms down, pressing your fingers, your palms, your forearms, your shoulders, notice how that lifts your back a little bit, but maybe also presses your calves and shins. And soften that. Two more breaths to really yield to gravity, as though Earth is going to come up underneath you, scoop you up, Mother Earth, and just hold you in her arms. Let your breath become in sync with the tide's flow. Little ocean of oxygen inside of yourself. Just come on up. We're going to come onto our squatting feet next. Feeling that same sensation of the earth rising up to support our feet and our hands. Find a gentle rock. You can choose to roll up softly or to keep your heels lifted and squeeze those legs together and rise with support. And see if you can find a place of balance on the balls of your feet. Let those arms come softly down by your sides. Gently down. Big breath in. And go ahead and look down at your feet. Let's make sure that our heels and toes are touching for the eagle pose. Yeah, so we're not kind of close, but really truly touching. We're going to gather together, so centering through the thighs, and we're going to then reach back our pelvis as though we're sitting on a chair. It must be back there somewhere. Let's find it. Is it back there? Over there somewhere. And as I reach my pelvis back, I'm lifting up through my pelvic floor, through that belly lock. And I want to take a moment here to just curve and softly arch. And you can put your hands on your thighs if you like. So you're basically doing cat-cow in your awkward chair pose. Really enjoy all the moments. Still deep in your squat. Feeling 70% of your weight in your heels. And then go ahead and reach back. Feel that arch. Really draw up and in through your belly lock and feel the curved spine. And then we want to find flat, knees and toes together, and sit back. And then from there, can you start to lift your shoulders over your chest just a little bit more? And your arms can come forward to counterbalance you. Drawing your shoulder blades back in together. And go ahead and push the earth away. We're going to lift up through our nice long tall bodies and stand on your left leg. Right leg's going to come up. We want to cross the thigh as high as possible. So in the eagle pose, the trick to balancing here, of course there's lots of little tiny bits that work together, is that my center line, where my belly button and my heart and pubic bone are, needs to shift just slightly over so that it's above my second toe. So as I cross my leg, I'm trying to cross it as high up the thigh as possible. You can even grab this meat on the inside and lift it up and over. And then I'm going to squeeze those legs together. And that helps to move my belly button just slightly over the pointer finger toe of the standing leg. I'm definitely sitting back like we just did in that awkward chair pose and thinking about having a gathered in belly and a relatively straight lower back. Yeah, so I'm going to move my thigh up over the other thigh. I'm going to squeeze together. That will help me square. I'm reaching my lower knee forward, but not passing my toe. So I'm thinking hips go back in this direction. This knee is reaching slightly forward, but it shouldn't be passing the toe. And then squeezing my legs together, I'm going to bring my shoulders back up over my hips. And balance is not a place. Top thigh is bottom arm, crossing your arms above the elbow, bending those hands, and then lifting. Balance is about finding a rocking back and forth negotiation. Go ahead and let go. right? So like a boat on the water, it's not just perfectly still. It sort of rocks on the water a little bit. And you want to let your body have that same sensation over that leg. But it's this hip that's doing most of the work. So inner thighs, outer hip, definitely do most. Let's try the other side. Core. Big lift up. You can even move those fat tissues so you're putting the soft part of your inner thigh on top of the other leg. Squeezing the legs together. So inner thighs working. Tailbone sinks back. Whew. Re-squeeze. Abs in. Reaching my heel back. Reaching my hips back. Reaching my knee forward. Top leg is bottom arm across above the elbows to bend. Elbows up, shoulders back. And when I bring my shoulders back over my hips, I'm definitely re-engaging my abdomen. And then I'm sailing over the foot. Good. All right. Let's do a little a micro version of that. So sometimes it's harder to get those legs all the way crossed at first. So here's another version you can work towards with. You can definitely have a wall nearby. Haha, our friend the wall. And we can, instead of crossing, right? Because it takes a lot of strength to get from like here. If you're still crossing and it doesn't get tight, then that's a lot more work to hold your balance over. So another way to practice it is without crossing. I'm taking my knee up and I'm going to sink down again. And I'm using that same squeeze power, but it's the inner thigh and my ankle, or the calf and my ankle. So I'm still squeezing tight, but I haven't all the way crossed the legs over. Same idea. Belly lifts in. Sitting back, squeezing my legs to the center line. Top leg is bottom arm. It's still really hard work. And finding our breath. And push, release. And the other side. Squeezing those legs together. And release. So the idea of squeezing, centering, to get our center to move to the left or the right is definitely huge here. Let's go ahead, and again, you can hold onto a wall or a chair while you're working on this. Let's take that leg up. And instead of opening to the side for our tree, we're going to keep that leg forward. And we're going to slide our hands underneath the thigh. Yeah? So bus-stop hay is here. You can even come forward if you want to really get there. But once we're there, I'd like you to think about sipping up the straw of your standing leg. So we're breathing up and radiating through that leg, so supporting down. And that will help you to straighten the standing leg. Most of us tend to slouch in your standing leg a little bit. Yeah? Then can we think about shoulders back, bellies up. We're already at bus stop B if your body's straight. Bus stop C, extending that leg. D, E, and release it down. Come on out. Other side. Legs together. Belly button slightly shifts over as you lift up your leg. Grabbing underneath the thigh. Support as we sip up through our standing leg. Shoulders open back. Finding our breath. It's okay if your hands let go as you do this. That's all right. We want a straight body, straight leg. That's the real goal here. Let it go. Just for the sake of fun, we'll do one leg again, both sides. One of the things that happens when we get a little bit too into or excited about getting the leg high is that we tend to lose the position of the hips. So temper that, right? We want to stay in our strongest, most secure alignment as we work on the flexibility. So if your leg's not very flexible in the hamstring, then it's going to stay a little bit low. And if you try to go too high, then you might be lifting that hip up to get it higher or doing something a little strange. Remember, our goal here is this long standing body. Yeah? Okay, one more time each side. Here's a couple of variations. If you are flexible and you're moving not just on the balance side of things, but you want to get your leg higher and do your balance. So balance first, please. I really have to think about this butt squeezing to get my body all the way upright. You can move your arms down to your knee. Notice how my booty wanted to go up when I did that, so I have to squeeze it back to the center line. So thighs squeezing together gets me back to that square position. You can shift to your calf. Oh boy. And then the final one is, I'm gonna come up close for this. You can use your peace sign fingers to grab your big toe. So I'm gonna do the other side here. Peace sign fingers, woo, to the big toe is the toe hold in yoga. Yeah, all right, here we go. I'm gonna try this one. I might fall, and that's okay. It helps to have a really low ceiling I can grab onto. Okay, so I'm gonna find my upright body first, and then I'm gonna lean out. I'm holding with my opposite hand. I need to re-straighten my standing leg. I need to really squeeze my glutes to get all the way upright. There we go. And soften. All right, last try. Yeah? More important to keep your leg low and not worry about the peace sign fingers, but to work on the strength of holding your body up, because that is it's a lot of work. We usually get really excited about putting the leg up and skip the strength part. But you won't actually be gaining the flexibility in the place that you want if your body is not aligned in the straight long body line that you're looking for. Yep. All right, letting that go. All right, friends, let's take a moment, parallel legs, and soften all that out. So I'm gonna go side to side. I'm thinking knees and toes straight forward of my body. Go ahead and look down at your feet and knees and toes. So you're moving with grace here, letting your buns and torso go back behind you. So it looks quite flat from that view when I'm really thinking back. I'm gonna come up center and turn those knees out wide. So thighs are open, opening, 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 and that same sort of move. It's really challenging to keep my knees turning out so they're over the toe. What happens when we do this usually is that our foot might be pointing that way, but then the knee starts to drift in. So moving slowly and holding your thigh open with this external rotator muscles that are right underneath your butt. All right, coming down to the center for your horse riding pose, gathering your core in, pressing your shoulder blades back. So you're sinking and opening. Let's find our breath. Feel that heat building up. All right, we're gonna inhale. And we're gonna exhale to rise, pressing the floor away and sipping up through our spine. Lovely heel toe it in. All right, lunar salutation coming on up. We're going to take a breath in. Remember, the pattern is very similar to our sunny salutation, but we're going to stay down low longer. Big breath in. Exhale those shoulders down. We're going to inhale down. We're going to exhale up to flat back. Inhale, palms to the floor. Bending your legs. We're going to send your right leg back and then knee down. So we're in a low lunge for lunar salutation. We're going to exhale up. So big breath in. And exhale up. Inhale. Moving slowly. Can you notice this front hip? Is the knee a little wobbly? Is the hip want to rise up? Can you really think about dropping that front hip down and reaching your knee forward? Just hang out and drop the shoulders. Exhale, lifting your heart. Inhale, drink up the ground. We're going to take our hips back. I'm going to turn. Dropping your head. Big hamstring stretch. So if you're in this position but much tighter, then we're going to have still a bent leg here as long as you're feeling this stretch here. And you can perhaps try your peace sign finger grab. Woo! Other thing that's nice about that peace sign toe grab is that it helps to stretch out the bunion that many of us grow in that front. All right, we're going to shift back forward to the low lunge. Sneak that foot if you need to. Good. We're going to drop those hips forward some more. This is your right leg back. Your left arm is going to go out and around. And reach behind yourself, looking behind yourself. Back up and over. Letting your front knee fall open. So I'm on the side of that left foot, and I'm going to drop my chest down. I'm sorry, your left foot is back, I think. I'm not sure anymore. What are we doing? I think I turned the wrong way sideways and confused myself. So I'm going to say front leg and back leg from now on. Walking it back up. We're going to take your front leg to the back. And we're going to open our chest by crawling forward with the chest, laying your chest on the ground, letting your tailbone stay way up in the air. Big armpit opener. I'm going to give you a choice here. If you just want to relax, you can come to your child's pose and just breathe through the whole downward dog. Okay? If you want a little more feist, come on up to your downward dog. Let's add in those pendulums. Maybe you came up here to do pendulums and you're like, one's enough today. That's all right. Can you listen to your body? What does your body want today? Come on down to the child's pose for everyone. We're going to come up to all fours. Draw our shoulder blades back in together. Make sure our pointer fingers are forward and our elbows bend towards the side of your body. We're going to take that back leg, the one that stepped back, which I think is your right leg. We're going to lift it up in the floor. Try not to drop your chest. We're going to keep our backs nice and flat and just lift that leg, that's all. Good, take it down. Other side. Flat back, flat hips, just lifting the thigh. You can look underneath yourself and re-square. Drinking up through your hands. Good, let it down. Pressing back into your downward dog. And we're going to slide your starting leg forward and drop the back knee down into your low lunge. All right, we're going to place your front hand on your front knee and press up here. Nice and square, letting your hips slide underneath you. And then we're going to inhale, squaring those hips, and exhale, lifting your hands skyward. Lifting up from the base of your spine. So not just from your rib cage, leaving your back behind you, but I want you to think tailbone's coming underneath, maybe even squeezing the spine a little bit so that your back leg's hip is really engaging and sliding underneath the weight of your body. Both arms up. I'm going to take my hands back down to the front here. Namaste. Inhale, twist. See if I can put the opposite arm across the body here. And then I'm going to make a gentle fist with this hand. Press into it to get a really big twist in my upper back. And yield those hips down to gravity. Big breaths here. Good. Push with your front leg to give yourself space to move out of it. Tucking your back toe. Extend that back leg and little mini steps to get a little bit more narrow in your stance. Bending the back leg for the pyramid pose. Yeah, so I'm stretching this front hamstring. This is my starting leg, but I'm going to bend the back leg and shift my weight back. And you can totally hold on to bricks here, and you can bend this back leg as much as you want. So if you want to hold on to bricks here or a chair, you can do that as well. Big breath. I feel like this one looks deceptively simple. It's a lot. All right, we're going to shift together. Soft, bent-legged, forward fold. Walk that forward fold, please, with some breath. Really let your hips tip as you walk. Yeah, hips tipping. So as your hips tip, you access the stretch in the outside of each thigh. You're going to bring it together. Big breath in. Exhale, squat. And push the earth away. Coming back to stand in the middle. Closing your eyes and bringing your heart just 2 inches forward today to feel your balance. Big breath there. Big breath in. Exhale and reach up. Gathering your tailbone underneath you. So your tailbone is reaching to the center of the earth. Inhale, head reaches back. Counterbalancing with your tailbone, not just your ribs. So your abs are fully engaged. Go ahead and bend those knees, squeeze the thighs together. Find your balance. It's all in squeezing those thighs and abs. And big breath in. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale, flat back forward. Inhale, floor. And your second leg is going to go back. So you'll be in the same lunge you were just in. I know when I come into this lunge, my hips want to turn and fall open. So I am adjusting with my inner thighs to bring that hip through. And we're going to lift on them. Exhale. Inhale down, drinking up the earth. Exhale, supporting the sky. One more time. Good. I'm going to take my hands down to the floor. And I'm going to bring my hips back and stretch the hamstring of the front leg, squaring it off. You practice grabbing your big toe with your two peace sign fingers together and pulling it a little bit towards your center line, so a little inward. Your back toe and foot, you can be tucked as I am, or you can be pointed. Whatever feels better for you is really fine. All right, we're going to come back forward. I'm going to scoot my front leg back forward as I come through. I'm going to find my alignment again. I'm going to lift up. And see if I can take my leg back to fall to my modified chaturanga. So modified means my knees are on the ground. I'm still not going to let my booty be up in the air here. Really lift it through my abdominal wall, shoulders back, heart forward. Heart forward, abs in, heart forward, abs in, heart forward, abs in. Good, let's inhale. And softly look around the room in your cobra. And exhale back down to the mat. Back to your child's pose. Please flip those wrists over and child's pose. Inhale, rolling up. All right, your lead leg is going to step forward. Tricky, right? All right, lead hand on lead thigh. We're going to think about our tailbone, which is probably pointing back at an angle right now. We're going to push into this front leg and tuck that bun underneath ourselves. So we're really opening from the base of the spine. Base of the spine. it up. Couple breaths here. If you're feeling ready, both arms. And I'm interlinking my ring finger and pinky finger and reaching up through my pointer finger and middle finger. Remember, I'm lifting up from the tailbone. I invite you to get longer and then sink it forward. Tucking that back leg. We're going to step back again to your downward dog. If you'd like to rest in your child's pose instead of doing your pendulums, do that. Second leg pendulums for those of you who are feeling it. Honoring what your body needs today with respect and compassion. Back to your child's pose. Curling up. Rising up onto your knees. Now we're going to lift your lead leg forward. You're going to find two bricks or a chair or a wall or the floor. We're going to tuck the back foot and think about your lead hip going up and back behind you for that pyramid pose. I definitely close the gap to get here, and it's a really big stretch. Back leg is bent. Yeah, if you feel like you want to bend your front leg a whole lot to get there, that's not the way to get that stretch. Find a prop, like your handy friend, the unicorn. Bend that back leg and try to lengthen through the front leg. All right, softening both knees. We're going to step together. Big breath in. Exhale, chest up. See if you can find balance on the balls of your feet. I know it's tricky. Thighs together, bellies in. And we're going to put our hands back down. Now we're going to open our knees. And I want you to find the place where your heels feel like they're right underneath your hip sockets. Yeah, I'm going to do the act of opening my thighs. So I'm actively opening my thighs just enough so that my knee is pointing the same direction as each second toe. Actively opening my knees, pulling my belly in. This is not easy, y'all. See if you can find a moment of balance. When you're ready, you can either fall out of this or take an extra trip with me, your choice. I'm going to push up, squeezing my thighs together and sipping up from the center of the earth. Just one time. Good. Not these thighs open, 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 thighs. Good job. Let it go. All right. Actually, before you fall back, we're going to take our second leg back one more time and open up the first leg's thigh. So I'm letting it rock so the sole of my foot comes off the ground. All right, I'm going to now take that foot and fall onto my butt. So this is an open pigeon pose. I'm going to turn all the way to the front here. And let's Let's restart so we can be sure we're on the same leg. Let's put our right legs front. So my right thigh is going to point right to the front of your mat. And then my left leg is going to reach back. Sorry, I still have this terrible cough. I apologize for coughing in a mic. And then I'm going to take this right heel and I'm going to bring your right heel as close to in alignment with the front edge of your mat as you can. That's awfully tricky. So I'm trying to have this front shin in a line with the front edge of your mat. I'm going to sneak my back leg back. And I'm going to place my elbow down on this knee. So I'm putting weight to hold this open. And then I'm going to try and close forward. So hang out there just a sec. And I will come do it from the side. So our right knee is forward. All right, so you're in, instead of a regular pigeon here, we have our front foot out. We're putting weight on that. And we're trying to close your left hip in to that right leg. All right, coming up a little bit. We're definitely down on this hip. And I'm going to sneak my hand, so right leg, right hand, forward to that foot. See if I can reach here and open my body to the side. Yeah, so here's your bus stop A. Grabbing here, you can use that 2-finger pull if you want. You can grab the sole of your foot with your whole foot, hand. I'm going to try and lift up through the body. Going to try to extend that leg further back. And then I'm going to try to start. So my hips are open, right? I'm not pushing this hip down at this time. I'm going to try to sneak from hand to back of elbow. B, C, D, E. If you can get something to hook into the arch of this foot here, then we're going to use that spot to put pressure, like you're rowing a boat, pressure, to pull your body closer and to revolve up in the sky. You can also place your hand here and push. And if you're releasing that, and we're going to switch sides. So now your left leg's going to come to the front. And instead of a regular pigeon, we're going to draw that ankle forward. And if you feel, especially if you feel torque in your knee in this position here, you want to give yourself extra thigh opening by pushing down with the same elbow on the thigh rather than the knee. But that pressure to open the thigh out of the same elbow here can give you less action of torque on that knee there. As you close your body, find your breath. Rising up, let your hips open a bit and crawl your hand in, reaching back. Now we're opening this hip a little bit more, lifting up through the body. And if you'd like, you can come lower. Good, releasing down. We're going to take those feet and we're going to come up onto your low lunge on this side. Pressing into the earth, left hand. Twisting towards it with the elbow. And twisting around your body. Hopefully this is the other side that you did not do. If it's not, feel free to switch so that we're evening out on this twist in the low lunge. And release. Lovely. Coming back center. We're going to take, and you can sit on a brick here in the middle if you want a little support, but I'm just going to take the heels of my hands here and push into my thighs. Almost like I'm trying to get out of the pool. You know that feeling when you're pushing up on the edge of a pool? I'm going to push into my thighs. And then I want you to reach up and grab in your hands 2 handfuls of fluffy marshmallow clouds. So you're just going to have enough soft squish in those hands. They just touch. And we're going to take them from the top of the thigh to the bottom. Gently tapping, so moving the blood around, definitely on the outside. And you can use the knuckles of the fingers or the little cinnamon bun side of your hand, tapping on the outside, tapping above the knee, tapping all the way up to that hip flexor and even onto your pelvis, the outside of your hip. And same thing other side, and then we'll get out of this position. And this should be a firm but gentle feeling. Yeah, it should rebound softly. All right, let's come out of that position. We're going to do that same tapping down the top of the shins, especially the outside of the shin, but also the inside if you get shin splints. Nice little thud. And then up the back side of your calf. So I'm going to lift my leg up so you can see where I'm tapping. Either side and in the middle. So tapping, let the flesh sway, bounce. Let it be fluid, cool. Try the other leg. So for me, the outside of my shin is usually tender, so I'm gonna still tap it. It shouldn't be a sharp pain, but it might feel like, ooh. Yeah, we're going for ooh, but not ooh, if that makes sense. All right, let's tap underneath. Up the center line. All right. And now I'd like you to knead with your hands. So kneading. I'm going to press. Here's my shin bone. Yeah, you can feel the shin bone. Walk your fingers down that. And then we're going to go to the outside of the shin bone. You can feel that layer of muscle. And we're going to press. I'm walking my fingers up to that. And then I'm going to take my thumbs and smush the back side of my calf, especially right in the center, and then turning my hands upside down so now my fingertips are on the back of my calf. Now I'm doing that kneading action. And then I'm going to work my way up my thigh, so I'm kneading my thigh, pressing through all the fat tissue and the muscle tissue and the skin tissue, getting movement. I'm going to come just above my knee, so maybe my fingertips at my knee and my palms or my heels of my hands on the outside, and I'm going to squeeze in. Usually a lot of tension right here on the IT band. I'm squeezing in. and making little circles. Returning to our breath. Good. All right, other side. Starting with the calf. Walking up that shin. So feeling the shin and then walking your fingers up. Coming back to your breath. If you find a place that really feels tight, slow down. I invite you to slow down and just say, hey, how you doing? Oh, right? Just be kind in that tight spot. Maybe it's an old injury. Maybe it's a surprising new place. And how do we come to our bodies as human as they are, as changing as they are, as unreliable as they can be? How do we come to them with the same compassion and love that we would treat a small child or even a beloved pet? Squeezing with your fingers, kneading with your thumbs. When you find a spot that needs extra care, feeling okay about slowing down and returning to our breath. Let's turn our hands upside down. Remembering that we have the power to heal and that we deserve that care. Hello, leg. Hello, thigh. Thank you for letting me stand. Can you talk to yourself lovingly? Hello. I'm going to use the heel of my hand on the outside and inside, above the thigh. Little slow circles into the IT band. All right, so we're going to take that arm, sitting however is comfortable for you, but I'm going to sit in our easy pose and place my arm palm up here so that I can take a handful of marshmallows and I'm going to push, maybe with a handful of marshmallows, maybe also just with the heel of my palm. So I'm leaning, kind of smushing my arm into my thigh and rocking the arm bone back and forth. So I'm massaging the inside of my forearm, and then I'm going to knead it there, squeezing those arm muscles and moving up. And I'm going to walk my fingers up the back side of my arm. So trapezius, back of deltoid, big kneading on the shoulders. Oof. Walking my fingers into the tight spots on the front of my deltoid. Ooh, I got some tight spots in there. So I'm going to just slow down. Even pressure with my fingertips in a small, slow circle. And return to my breath. Low shoulder. I feel that you're sore right now. Thank you for doing so much for us yesterday. And then I'm going to come up to the top of my shoulder, my upper trapezius, and I'm going to knead and walk with my fingers on that shoulder. There's a big knot there, so that lets me know that this shoulder has been fighting against this tension in the front of my chest. So I'm going to give it some squishes, but I'm not going to fully expect it to let go. I'm going to lean my head away from that shoulder for a moment. Just know I'm going to need to come back here. All right, let's do the other side. Starting with your forearm, you can knead the forearm, you can smush down with the heel, or with you can tap it. Anything that works, that feels good to you. So your forearms are what help us support our weight on our hands, right? The more we can strengthen these muscles right here, the less ache we get in our wrists when we're doing arm balances. Moving up the arm, especially the back of the arm, getting the trapezius, I'm sorry, not the trapezius, the triceps. Get to that trapezius. Squeezing the back of the deltoid. Noticing without judgment whether one arm feels different than the other. Remember, we did arm balances yesterday on both arms, right? Not just one. So if one arm feels differently than the other, it's usually because one arm tends to do more work. It's already stronger. So doing things on two arms at once can help us to rebalance that. Sometimes that process of rebalancing feels very unbalanced. It's catching up. Or if your dominant arm is the more sore one, then you might not be balanced in your arm balance, right? You may be still doing more work with your dominant arm. I'm more sore in my left side, but my right side is the dominant arm, so that means I'm rebalancing. All right, up to your shoulders. Remember, we're not expecting a full release in the top of our shoulders right now, because this is a complicated system. We want to get both places. And leaning your head away from it. All right. Next up, we're going to massage our back sides. So we're going to start in child's pose. Really let your head down on the floor. We're going to use those marshmallow holding hands to tap your glutes out, the sides of your hips. If you have short arms in proportion to your torso like I do, it's hard to get all the way back here. I got to do one side at a side. Mostly for me, the real satisfaction comes from the sides of my hips and around the arch of the back of my hip bones. And then I'm going to come up the lower back, soft hands. There's a lot there. You might have really tender kidneys. We all need a lot of water when it's hot. And then maybe just rubbing up and down the backs of your knuckles. Maybe squeezing from the waist. Maybe walking your fingers along those lower central back muscles. And if your shirt is slippery enough, you can take your knuckles and slide down, pushing down the paraspinal muscles, which are the many muscles that are two big cords on either side of your back. Maybe those tight spots, right where your glutes meet your back. All right, you're going to roll up. We're going to grab our hands off the chest. Come back down. Let your hands come up in the air and let them hang to one side. And hang to the other side. Come center and hands release. Now we're going to find our props, whatever you might have found for your prop. Big ball, little ball. pinky ball. Let's come back down with our props. All right. So if you have something that is round, then you can kind of roll your hands together around it. Like an apple will probably work for this. And that actually just massages these muscles in your hands that have been doing some work for you. Excuse me. If your lump is not so round, maybe you're doing more of a press and release action, yeah? So this is my slightly rectangular ball of towel. I'm just gonna push for a second. All right, we're gonna take this into our backs to release the paraspinal muscles between your shoulder blade and your spine, right? Your shoulder blade here is this big triangle. And when it's down and back, there's a line of muscle that goes from your skull along each side of your spine all the way down. And often your rhomboids, which are in this area between your shoulder blade and your spine, get really tight. So we're going to lay on our back. We're going to do both sides, but we're going to start by laying on your ball in this location. So if you feel the point of your shoulder blade and you feel your spine, it's right up there. And if you can't get quite to it with your hand, you can lay down and sort of roll your body to get to that location, right? So we're going to do that spot first. Then we're going to move the ball up higher. I'm just showing you before we lay down. And we want the ball to get into this spot between the spine and the upper trapezius. So it's like, here's that spot you wish, when you wish someone would just come up behind you when you're sitting in a chair and push their thumbs right into your shoulders. That's location number 2 with your ball. And then we'll do the other side. Okay. Change our lighting. So laying down with your pinky ball here between the point of your shoulder blade and your spine. Now, if you have a really big ball, or if your pinky ball is going really deep and you want less intensity, what I invite you to do is to lay your hands down underneath your back a little bit, or even put a pillow on top of the whole thing so that it's not quite as intense. So often if I start out really feeling like, whoa, I put the ball in, I have both of my wrists under my back, or even fists under your back. And that way you can ease with your breath into that stretch. I invite you to walk your feet wider than your hips and let your knees tip together. If you have a big ball, those of you who have a large ball, then this is going to be a lot. You might feel that you want to put your arms out to the side and rock a little bit, since it will be more of a broad stretch that opens your back instead of a pointy stretch. We'll both feel quite good. Remember, we're going to slow our breath, slow our response, and invite ourselves to let go of that tension, which often echoes all the way up into our shoulders. super slow pressure point release. If you feel you need to adjust the location a little bit or shift your body, it's okay to do that. I invite you to move really slowly, like as though you're meeting a wild animal or a bird and you don't want to scare it, but you're just trying to move, letting it know that it's safe. So you're letting your body know that it's safe as you shift if need be. Or if you can stay in a location to just slow that breath down. Open up those muscles to the opportunity to release their baggage, to let go of that tension that no longer is serving you. Gently lift the weight out of that ball and roll it up. You can lay over to your side to grab and move it. We're going to move the ball up to that location in your upper trapezius, where your neck and your shoulder and your spine meet. And just give yourself that big, deep squish. And this one might feel a little looser. You might be able to roll your shoulder or sigh, or even slowly turn your head all the way to the left. And breathe. Slowly turn your head all the way to the right. When you're ready, take the ball out from behind your back and just rest for a moment, feeling the difference between the side of your back that had that pressure release and the other side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and start with your second side. Remember that you might need to come up on your hands or a pillow first. And that your breath can support you. And that we're approaching these places of tension as we would a small bird in the wild, moving slowly. approaching with wonder and care. When you're ready, you can stay a little longer. If you need a little longer, you can start to explore up the back. When you're ready, up to that place where your shoulder blade and your spine and your neck meet. Exploring, turning your head in both directions, all the way over and resting with that head turned. Taking a couple more minutes to massage with the ball anywhere that you feel could use a little extra rub. coming off of that ball and rolling onto your right side. And placing both hands together in front of you. And inhale that arm up. Palm facing front and exhale it back down. Your shoulders are right on top of each other when your hands meet. And inhaling up the second time. And this time as you exhale, let that arm fall backwards behind your body. And then we're going to keep the palm up, still very much laying on our side. And very slowly pan the arm up until you find a deep stretch in your pectoral muscles. That's what holds your arm to your chest, or maybe your armpit itself. And we're just going to breathe in that location, letting your armpit and shoulder stretch. You can let that arm drift low. The weight of the arm opening the deltoid muscles. And then reaching that arm down behind yourself to the opposite hip. Letting the neck stretch and the shoulder. We'll roll to our backs. And inhale up and over to the opposite side, starting with both palms together. Hips, knees, and hands all aligned. And inhaling up with that arm that was on the floor and exhaling it back to meet its partner. Inhaling up again. And exhaling the arm open behind yourself. And slow motion from here. Feeling for those places that need a breath. Slightly up behind yourself, perhaps at ear or eye height, wherever it is that you feel your pectoral muscles, those little attachment places in your armpit, getting a good stretch. And letting that hand drift low. Maybe 3 breath cycles on its path down towards your opposite hip. Reaching away from your ear. Reaching past the lower hip. And then let the weight of that arm open your chest, allowing your body to come back center. Spreading out into your Shavasana. Back on your back, again feeling the earth rising up to meet you. The way she supports your heels and feet. The way she touches the backs of your legs. Soft, constant support from below. Breathing in, floating on top of that glorious support. Sipping up the calm, the steadiness with your breath, and exhaling back softness, compassion. Inhaling groundedness, the luxury of that weight into her embrace, and exhaling peace. Breathing in, coming back to your body. Gently roll back to your side when you're ready. Thank you for spending the day with me, for spending your summer with me. I look forward to seeing you again. It's been truly an honor and a pleasure. I hope you take some of these gifts and share them with others that you love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I feel much, much better.
Oh,
I
good.
still feel pain, but I feel more flexibility.
Oh, good.
I can move more freely right now. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Glad to hear that.
Yes, I was afraid to start yoga today, but now I feel amazing.
Yay! Class Friday. Oh, Crystal, no, there's not a Class Friday. Did you find a last day, open day thing? That shouldn't was an old email. I will go check it and send it back up. There's no class on Friday.
Yes, I also have a question about Friday.
So sorry about that. That is an old email that should not have gone out. I must not have turned it all off. um, so sorry. This summer cold is a doozy. I will send out this week information on my fall classes. I hope you guys can make it. Love to see you again.
Do you have in-person classes?
Almost all in person this fall, which is cool change.
Yes.
Yeah, I encourage you to come and try something new if that's what it takes to get you there.
Yes, even pigeon pose today was new for me. The
cool.
open pigeon
Open?
to using, yes.
I really like it.
It just was always interesting to find something new.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Good to see you again. Hello, little friend over there.